Come on! Unity is a web series filmed and edited by Emily Jansen as she lives in her vehicle, traveling the United States and documenting the many other types of alternative living, exposing audiences to the growing change in perspective and lifestyle for a common unity.
I came here about 8 years ago. Right now my full-time job is the farm coordinator. So before Avalon, I grew up in Virginia. I went to college in upstate New York and was definitely on a search trying to find out what I was doing with my life. And I was very much an activist, very aware of the wealth disparity between the rich and the poor in the world and the reasons why. And the sort of domination of greed over cooperation and health and love. So I didn't like the system, I didn't like the college system because it sort of sets you up to fail. A lot of kids don't end up working in the things that they get degrees in. They have debt, they have to do a job they don't believe in because they need to pay their debt and put food on the table. So I thought if I want to put food on the table, I need to learn how to grow food, because the food system isn't very sustainable how it's set up. So I knew that that was what I needed to do. So I dropped out of college, put all my stuff in a backpack and went on the road, traveling the country and then leaving to go to New Zealand. And I wasn't ever going to come back to America. And what I realized is the same corporate structure and power existed over there as it did here, so it wasn't much different. I got an opportunity to be a part of this music touring collective. We played in Sedona, where this community ran a performance venue, and I was just a perfect fit. I had been reading a book called the Urantia Book. This community has spiritual foundations in the Urantia Book, but also organic farming and music and sustainability and eco-village life is all things that I was interested in. The eldership here, the people who founded the community over the last 30 years have come up with systems and methodologies and ways of doing these things that are really, really good. It's authority based on love, not competition and greed, which is uncommon in the intentional community world to have a hierarchy. But we think more like the Native Americans, where authority is based on humility and virtue and eldership. Gabriel of Urantia is the co-founder of this community along with Neon Emerson Chase. So they felt moved by the creator to leave the system, so to speak, and create a sustainable, intentional community based upon spiritual principles. They are the highest elders in our structure of eldership here. Their spiritual direction is very valuable, and never once have I seen self-aggrandizement or the misappropriation of resources. And that was one of the things that I hated most about pretty much every job I ever worked in and every corporate structure, is that the higher up in authority you get in the company, the more likely corruption is to occur and misappropriation of resources and mistreatment of people as a result of having authority. And so you have to be humbled to be a leader, but through their humility they've been able to push this community forward in amazing ways. There isn't as many cons in this lifestyle. I think the cons are more in your own internal growth that needs to happen, because when you live in community, you need to work through interpersonal issues. If you're not willing to go through that with people, to go through the thick and thin, it's almost like a marriage with everyone here, because we're dedicated. We wake up and we see them again the next day. And so, you know, the cons could be being misunderstood, being misrepresented in the media, which we've been, being ostracized in a way for having a different belief, which to me, all of those things aren't really cons, because I've been an activist my whole life. In some ways I know that I'm doing something right when that's happening to me. Like Margaret Mead said, never doubt that a committed small group of people can change the world. And in fact, it's the only thing that ever has. So we believe that we are a group like that and that we will change the world. That this prototype Ecovillage, even if it does piss some people off because they don't understand how we operate or why, all they have to do is come here and see how we operate. You know, if you want to fault find, and you can do that in anything, you can find fault in anything if you are looking for it. Yeah, I think we're in a time, like the Hopi elders have said, we're in the times of the purification. Christians call it the millennium of peace, 2,000 years, where Jesus comes back and we're in peace. And the Buddhists have the return of the Maitreya. I mean, all the major world religions have a belief, in a sense, that there is a destiny of this world to come into an age of light and life. That would be the terminology from the Urantia Book. So you would be in this area where there wouldn't be wars or corruption or greed on a planetary scale as we see now. So because of that, I think there's a separation of the wheat from the chaff, so to speak. I think the good people are getting better and becoming more loving, and the people who are choosing to be evil are actually becoming more sophisticated and effective in their evil. But I don't live in despair and despondency. I live in hope. I have faith that those who do the work of the Creator, I mean, those who really do good work and serve people, will be protected through serendipity and through unseen hands. And so what it comes down to is just treating someone else how you want to be treated, and holding each other accountable to doing that. That to me is my worldview. I pray for the return of the promised one, whatever you want to call him. You know, I really do. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility for a big, huge change to happen on this planet, and for it to be celestial in nature. And so, you know, that might sound crazy to some, but I think a lot of people in the world hold a similar belief. And so you can walk through life with that belief or not. And if I didn't have that belief, with all the torture and pain and suffering in this world, it would be hard to get out of bed. We need to learn a way to unify the advancement in technology with the ways of the past that have worked for hundreds of thousands of years. And so what we've done in the last century is technology has replaced nature. But there needs to be a fusion of the heart and the mind. There needs to be a fusion of science and spirituality and technology and nature. And so you can see that a lot of what we're doing here is taking cutting-edge technology, green building, renewable energy, even computer software development for managing Ecovillage life and gardening, in which we're developing some software that other people can use to manage similar situations as this. And I think that if the world at large were to adopt some of the procedures that we have in this community in terms of resource sharing, conflict resolution, respect of elders, there's certain principles that, if were applied on a global scale, would bring great change to the planet. Trust that your needs will be met if you have the faith to step out of something that doesn't meet your ideals. If you're working for a job that you don't believe in morally, if you work for a bank, a weapons manufacturer, a chemical company, and you know that the products and things that you make at your company are harming people, leave your job. To have the faith that your and your family's needs will be met, and you'll be surprised at what that leap of faith will result in. And we offer seminars and classes that explain the nuts and bolts of how to leave the system and do it in a way that you will succeed and flourish. And so we, 120 people here, have done it, and we continue to do it every day, so it is possible. And we all came from all around the world, and we were in those same jobs. You totally can leave, and you will be fine.